welcome to this edition of Las Películas Sábados Gigantes at the Cinemarijuana Theatre.
Yeah.
That's right. Coming at you. It's a new week, and it's a brand new round, actually, a brand new elimination series here at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. You Blew It, Oscar is over.
Or is it?
Yeah, or is it? You might not have known that by tonight's screening. So this is a free-for-all elimination series where everybody is not bound by any restriction in what they pick. And we're all going to go, everybody's going to get a pick before we restart with a new theme. So it is fair game for everything. And tonight's film was chosen by myself. I won the lottery. Tonight's film was 1948's Treasure of the Sierra Madre, directed by one John Huston, starring Humphrey Bogart and Walter Huston and Tim Holt in the three lead roles. So before we get into the meat of this thing, let's go around and introduce the members of the Cinemarijuana Theatre present with us tonight. Starting with me and going clockwise, I'm Ed.
I'm Zeb.
I'm Kenzie.
I'm Yebus.
Back from the dead.
Praise him.
He is risen.
Praise be.
I'm Condi.
I'm Matt.
And yes, so Treasure of the Sierra Madre won tonight. So I guess before we get into everybody's opinions on this thing, I guess I will explain why I selected it.
Well, before we get that far, I think we should go over to Kenzie and get a
That
synopsis.
is a
Kenzie.
fantastic idea. Thank you for reminding me. Kenzie, will you please synopsize this film?
Just go
Okay.
flipping crazy.
Are you ready?
Yeah, flipe out.
All right.
Make sure it's chestnut approved.
Yes.
Okay. It's about three guys, and they go trying to find gold. And then it's also about some Mexicans.
There you
What do the Mexicans do?
Keep flipping.
And that's pretty much it.
There you
That's
go.
the Kenzie summary.
That's it. I can't think of a better synopsis for this film.
Three guys, gold.
Three guys,
Mexicans.
gold, Mexicans. Pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
that explains it right there. If you need more than that, then just fuck off now, because I mean you're like some kind of inhuman monster.
Smug bastard.
If you
Yeah, I mean, you're really out of your depth listening to this if you need more than
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, you had me at Mexicans. I mean, you, or at least you would have had me at it if you had had
Well,
that
I don't know.
first.
She had me at 3 dudes.
Well, haven't we all? In fact, I've actually passed that around to people. I'm like, dude, if you want to get into Condi's pants, the secret 3 is the magic number. Yeah, okay. So the reason I picked Treasure of the Sierra Madre, well, okay, so I actually didn't expect to win tonight. I figured that it would be a couple of weeks in before I won. In fact, there was great anticipation. Would Kenzie win a third time in a row? And actually, I'm pretty glad that she didn't, because this means we're not all going to like burn to death in a house fire.
Combo breaker.
Like in,
Yeah, totally.
like
You go
in
back to
Stephen
the beginning,
King's The
right?
Body. Yeah.
Nice Killer
yeah,
Instinct
songs,
reference.
And so I was torn. There's a couple of films that I was thinking about showing. One of which, for some stubborn, stupid reason, I've been waiting to show it. Well, I want Jason Land to be here when I show it, because I think he'll dig it. R.I.P. Jason Land. So I had to go with and I was torn between a couple of my Blu-rays, and then I was like, oh wait a minute, bang! It popped into my head, because this was actually a backup choice of mine for the last round, the You Blew It Oscar round, because if I'm not mistaken, this film was nominated for Best Picture
You're correct, sir.
in 1948. Do you know offhand what it was up against?
It lost to Hamlet. That much I know.
Olivier.
Olivier's Hamlet.
Well, I don't know that I could complain about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
kinda
not
not
a
really,
you
yeah.
blew it.
Yeah, I don't know that.
That's a coin flip.
That's a like you're bummed you came out the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah, right.
but I'll get that for you.
Okay.
One
All
of the
right.
few years they got it right.
So that's why. And then I was like, oh man, and I didn't know how many people had seen it, but I figured I knew at least a couple people hadn't seen it, and so I was like, I thought it would do well, and then it actually half of the group here tonight. There's 6 of us had not seen it.
So it was up against Hamlet, Johnny Belinda, The Red Shoes, The Snake Pit, and Hamlet was the winner that year.
Okay, Red Shoes.
Michael Powell.
Yeah, Powell and Pressburger, right?
Yeah.
Criterion puts that out.
Yeah, beautifully shot film.
What do you know about the other two?
Johnny Belinda. I think is that the one with Joan Crawford?
I think so. No?
No, that's Jane Wyman.
Oh.
She was married to Ronnie Reagan.
R.I.P. Ronnie.
Yeah. Well, no. R.I.H. Rot in hell.
He did win the Cold War.
He, isn't it still going on today?
Thanks, Obama.
Don't make me say rotten hell to your Bernie Sanders, because he
Oh,
wants
dude,
to give
come
Chestnut
on.
free schooling, please.
Hey, you know what? At least Chestnut's attending classes, man. At least he's trying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I haven't seen.
Chestnut's putting up the effort. I want Bernie, dude. Let's go.
Yeah. Bernie.
Let's do it.
The only one I've seen of those is Hamlet and the Red Shoes.
Okay, I've seen Hamlet, and it's
fantastic.
masterful. Yes, it's wonderful. So I was like, oh shit, because Treasure Sierra Madre is action and dramatic, and there's subtext and all that kind of shit. So I was like, bang, this is the night to show that, and yeah,
That's great.
So we'll start with you, Zeb.
Heyo.
Tell us about Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
I enjoy this film. I like this film.
Yes.
There's many things going for it. The main thing for me was Walter Houston's performance, kind of balancing out the craziness.
He's amazing.
Of Bogey and Tim Holt. Was that the news name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim Holt.
Curtin.
Just like the dude, he could see what gold does to people.
Oh yeah,
And
because
he was
he'd
just
seen
like-
it firsthand.
And he kind of gives that balance, that down-to-earth balance between the two guys who are just there and just completely blinded by greed. And he was there like saying, oh, well, we got to heal the mountain. We got to respect the land. We got to make them some offerings to the Mexican people that came along. He knew there's a relationship, and that relationship goes both ways, where the mountain opens up, gives you some gold, but in return, you got to return it to how you found it.
Right.
Or else, something bad is going to happen along the way. And then the other guys, especially Bogey's character, were just blinded by all that gold and really abused the land, abused everybody, including that the stranger in town that came by. And all he wanted to do was just dig for gold, completely harmless. Had a kid and wife back in Dallas, and he just needed that one strike, and that was it. And they just put him in a situation where he lost his life.
Yeah. Spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler warning.
I guess that's just assumed with these, though.
And I always enjoy Westerns, especially those in the Southwest, and kind of like the mysticism of
The desert. And
Of
yeah.
especially that, and again, spoiler warning, that end shot where the gold goes back to where it came.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful film. I enjoyed it. Walter Houston steals the show. I give it a 5 out of 5.
Excellent. Excellent. And just to backpack on your Walter Houston bit, I think the sort of that character that they use in The Simpsons, like the
Rich Texan.
And sort of the grizzled old prospector like archetype, I think, came from Walter Houston, because there's that scene when they think they've struck gold, where Tim Holt and Humphrey Bogart think Fred C. Dobbs, they think they've struck gold, but it's just pyrite, and he's like out there just laughing at what candy. Oh no, it's when they're like ready to like give up, and they're they're not even there yet, and they're being such candy ass, and he's having such a.
Well, no, they were there, weren't they?
No, it was on their way. Remember, because
No,
Bogart was like
they
on
were
the ground.
He had
like
found some
just
good
about
ground.
there. And he said, we can't dig here. You don't see what's under your feet. And that's when he's like dancing in their faces.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
funny
because that's what they were about to give up.
Yeah, and he's all like, we
They're
got to
like
get
on
up
the
there.
And
gold,
and he's laughing at them for basically
well,
being
yeah.
candy asses and like ready to give up. And he's like some old ass man who's like, hauling ass. And so he does that dance.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
he's like, and it's like, I think that's been used. I think that's like sort of become an iconic kind of thing.
Oh yeah, the whole
Oh, there's a
film.
lot of
Also,
examples.
like the
bandit.
badges, the stinking badges,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is funny because people get the quote wrong all the time.
Yeah, I noticed
But
that.
it's-
That's funny.
The real quote is really not
Different,
what
yeah.
it's sort of cracked up to be.
We have your badgers, sir. Badgers.
Yeah.
Those stinking badgers.
Which, speaking of that, just as a quick side note, I got Raul Hernandez from UHF going, "Oh man," on the Sounders too. You got that? Oh man. Okay.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Approved.
Oh man, approved.
So,
Okay.
I enjoyed it. 5
out of 5.
for me.
Excellent. All right. Kenzie, you need to send that piece over and then tell us what you thought.
Wild card.
She's trying to do
What
I'm
to
gonna
the
do
one?
it after.
You're gonna send that over after you talk.
You know when you
You know what? It's gone anyways. It's gone anyways.
you know when you open like a whole bunch of tabs
I'll
on
double
Chrome
check. I'll double check.
and like none of them are like loading right? Like no, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. You can wait till after you talk. Go ahead.
Okay. I just.
Oh, geez.
Here it comes.
Was that eye roll audible?
I just think
Man.
these types of movies aren't my thing. The more I
These
see
types.
them,
What do you mean, good?
What do you
put
mean?
those
What do you
in
mean? What do you mean? These types.
These types of black and white.
Ooh, she said black.
Oh.
These types of black people aren't
Baloney.
hers.
You watched Sunset Boulevard and
I
flipped
like
out.
that one. That was good, and
was
that was
rad.
fun.
Well,
this
it
one
was
has Bogart in it.
I
Humphrey
know,
Bogart.
but I don't know.
okay. Well, tear it apart then.
Okay, well, it was really horrible up until they got to the mine.
It was
What-
really okay.
What about that bar brawl?
What was it? Just boring?
Yeah,
You
it
just
was
didn't
boring.
Building
care.
oil derricks. How fascinating.
Well, now were any of them bangable? Is it possible that there was an absence of bangability here that made you lose interest?
No, because in different circumstances they might be, and the not like the old guy, and not the super bad guy, but the other guy.
Tim Holt.
Curtain.
I would have banged him. So
you would have spread his curtains.
You would have.
no.
He was okay.
Yeah, he was okay.
Okay.
This is another one where I'm like, they should have just killed him right at the beginning when he started to lose it.
What
The really bad guy.
Humphrey,
Their friend?
Humphrey
Really?
Bogart.
Bogey.
Sure.
Yeah, the guy
Yeah,
who
come on.
basically ponied up the finance to make
Yes.
that like a thing.
So they
Bad
should have killed
guy.
him.
They
Yeah.
should have just killed him right off the bat.
Yeah, kill
Well,
their
as
friend.
soon as
Yeah.
he
He's
started
sick for a
being
little while.
weird
I gotta
and
go, guys.
Just knock him
greedy,
off.
why not?
Oh, well, okay. Well, no, that's well. You saw
You're
maybe
just
why not?
asking
I
for
mean,
trouble.
it's
No.
You
it's
preferred him before he was
Yeah.
weird and greedy.
See?
No, I didn't ever.
well.
prefer
And the
him.
interesting thing is, they were supposed to be really, really far out, but it's not like they were outside of the law's jurisdiction because we saw the bandits get rolled by the feds, and obviously then at the end as well, we saw the banditos get their comeuppance because the feds are like got them
like-
for murder.
It's like El Centro.
Yeah, pretty much.
And probably
so,
just as hot.
So think about it. It's not. They wouldn't necessarily have been above legal reprisal had they decided to murder him.
Well, in
They
times
Because-
were
like
thinking
that-
about murdering the other dude.
Cody, the
Yeah,
other dude from
exactly.
Texas. Yeah, well, they were, but it wasn't as if they weren't going to have some sort of issue on their hands if they did that. I think that's why there was concern.
And that's
Why-
why all
why-
three of them had to do it.
Right, and why? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the law might have come to get them theoretically. So just bumping him off isn't necessarily the easiest option or the
Well, I
quickest.
think they should have done that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, will you calm down over there? This is her opinion, not
Yeah.
yours.
No, I'm just trying to provide a counterpoint.
It's just
here.
good to know that you'd bump your friends off right away.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna start acting
I'm glad
weird,
this isn't Walkabout, man.
I've seen horror movies. As soon as there's any sign of infection, you should shoot that motherfucker right in the face. This guy clearly. I mean,
I've had a cough.
was anyone expecting him not to become full on crazy at the end and just be so completely focused on the gold that he is? Basically,
Well, he does. He does have that. There is a little bit of time where the appearance of Cody and then the bandits sort of serve as a unifying force between the three of them, and following that altercation. He's a little less crazy for a bit.
He's a lot less crazy for a bit, especially after the Gila monster
Yeah,
thing, too.
Common enemy.
yeah, because it's like he's sort of his paranoia isn't so advanced that it can't be quelled yet. So you know what I mean? I don't know. I think to kill him outright would have been
Yeah, I mean, and
sure.
I've seen horror movies too, Kenzie. You'll be fine, little white girl. Zeb and I, first ones to go.
Yeah.
And them's the rules,
Only because
motherfuckers.
there's no black people here.
We're
Those
dark
are the
enough.
ones who
Yeah.
go first.
And then Ed, you're
I'm
probably third.
genetically, I've got some black.
Uh-oh.
Genetically, I mean, you can't see
Not
it, but
even.
He's got his
I-
pants on. You can't see it.
okay, yeah, this
Black
bitch.
from
I
the
got the
waist
fucking
down.
DNA test to prove the shit.
That's not a microphone wire on the floor.
Yeah. Okay, so well, anything else you want to say? I mean, please.
Sure. Okay. I like the way it ended, though. I did like. I mean, are we doing spoilers or?
Well, of
Yeah,
course.
that's why I should
of
have
Okay,
course.
I'm glad no one got the gold in the end, and then I'm glad they laughed about it because I mean that whole situation that would really suck.
Yeah.
The whole point
Well-
is kind of easy come, easy go. Right?
Yeah.
It's sort of, but was it so?
It wasn't easy.
come?
No, it wasn't.
You
Seemed
know,
like-
That's
you
the
know.
thing.
Seemed like the point was, to me was like what was important was like how they treated people, because like the one dude's just cool, like, you know, to the Indians or whatever, and he ends up like living like a fucking king.
In like basically this idyllic sort of pastoral
Yeah.
where he's got hot
he
chicks feeding him grapes.
Yeah, where they have no use for gold. They don't give a shit.
You know,
Yeah.
Like they have all, you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah. So continue.
Well, and that was kind of interesting too, how that other group of people like just so didn't care about it, and then I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.
Was there at any point during the film where did you actually find yourself actually engrossed in the film and where you were like, okay, like this is actually pretty rad?
I followed it the whole time. That's kind of the same
Well, I don't know that is
for
the
this type
same.
of movie.
For her, that's the same.
Yeah.
I
that's
guess.
pretty good. Yeah.
Especially for a movie that she's not interested in.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. So 3 stars for you.
3
3
stars.
low stars.
I said 3 stars.
Okay. Okay. Excellent.
Into the negative, or
All right.
I did like this one better than Shane. So.
Okay. All right. All right.
yeah, this is
Actually,
Well, that's fair.
you know
She's
what?
a much
hard
better
to
movie than
palate.
Shane.
You know what's funny too? Although actually in retrospect, I kind of felt bad for selecting it afterwards, because not that it's similar to Shane, but it is kind of like you'd find both of them probably in the same section of the fucking video store,
Yeah, Western.
kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of
Even
good video
though
store, though. You're
I mean,
actually
because
just,
You go to the video store and it's under those kinds of movies.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
You go to that
yeah.
section
the
that
well,
says
well, because
those kinds of
Sierra,
movies.
Sierra Madre is more or less a
and it's
western.
filed there.
Yeah.
It is more or less a western. I mean, they don't have.
Sure,
it
it's a
is taking
western.
It's
place.
that video store where Kinsey goes to.
It's. I mean,
Those
it takes place in old Mexico. You know.
It would say those movies and then like right underneath like 65 plus.
Nice. All right, Back from the
Wow.
Dead.
yes.
Chris.
Ahoy.
Ahoy.
Is that what the newly resurrected say?
Yes.
Apparently,
well,
because
because
I think that's what
you
Christ
said.
when
said.
you're on
Oh,
when
okay.
you're on the
Oh, I'm
boat
Jesus.
crossing the river Styx back to reality,
Ah,
when Charon, the boatman, is bringing you back across River Styx,
He was
like
too
that.
cheap to pay the ferryman.
you can say ahoy.
yeah.
You catch
His
that
ass
name
back.
drop?
Hello. This was, yeah, it was great. I loved it. I thought I had seen it before, but I hadn't seen it before because usually I'll remember it halfway through. Like, oh yeah, I remember.
Oh,
this,
right, yeah, like something will
but
strike a key.
No, that's great. Yeah, this movie is like so many movies. It seemed like having seen this. Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about Lord of the Rings, and
It does. I have to wonder, did Peter Jackson draw from this film from memory, or did he actually even like watch it going into production for Lord of the Rings? Because there's a
I'd
couple
like
of
to
things.
see
A couple of
side
things
by
we,
side,
we
shot
noted
for
that were
shot.
definitely lifted.
Yeah.
Or at least sort of paid homage to.
right.
Dude, are you still
right.
just trying to stroke off Peter Jackson by saying draw instead of just completely fucking ripped off?
Well, no, I believe
the better
in
art
homage.
steals, to be fair.
Well, as the quote that I read is attributed to Stravinsky is great composers steal, lesser composers merely borrow.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, if you're speaking the language of cinema, I don't think. I mean, you make films because you're a film fan for the most part. I think, except for the early. I mean, the Lumieres obviously weren't, but. So, I mean, obviously, for Peter Jackson, like, after he gets done with Lord of the Rings, he makes King Kong. That's his passion project. He's obviously a total, like, cinephile.
Yeah, but in defense to your like precious Tarantino, at least he'll acknowledge, you know, shit
yeah,
like
because
that.
he does it a lot, too.
Yeah, but where Peter Jackson will just steal something, and it's just I'm Peter Jackson.
Well, I don't know. I don't.
It's kind of hard to argue that one's meta and one's not, though. I think like is it not meta when Jackson does it, and it is when Tarantino?
What do you mean?
It?
Well, meta's kind of like when it's like mirroring like real life at the same time.
Yeah, I guess like not necessarily meta is what I mean, but like.
I think
homage or
I think
plagiaristic.
Probably what happened is, I don't really want to fault Peter Jackson. I don't think it's like an arrogant thing. It does. It would be hard for you to make a case to say like, oh, he wasn't thinking of that when he did it, right? But the thing of it is, like, you've got this character who's essentially like mad, but they're sort of they're almost sort of toying with being brought back kind of from madness because of Frodo's humanizing attitude towards Gollum, which is why this sort of dichotomy between his personalities becomes more pronounced as the journey progresses, right? So if Jackson is going, I need to find a way to really convey this character who's possessed by this piece of gold and who's having this descent into madness. Dude, Bogart fucking just destroyed that role. Dude, he's fucking intense and amazing. Like, what better source could you go to try to evoke that, especially for an audience largely made up of people who aren't going to give a fuck enough to go back and watch this film? You know what I mean? Like, I can kind of understand why Peter Jackson, because me and Cody do that, and we're talking about shit, like, we'll be like, oh, we can rip this shot straight off, and that would look so rad.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
And you and Cody would acknowledge it.
Well, yeah, but I don't know that.
Well, you know what? It might be beneficial at some point to go back to the special edition of Return of the King, which that shot is from.
No, it's in Two Towers, I think.
Is it?
Oh,
wow.
I don't know.
No, it's Two Towers.
But to see if he acknowledges it, because I don't know that he is ever like
where Gollum is standing and talking to his alter ego. But yeah, I mean, I think
listen to some commentary to see if he actually
that's what I was
references
saying. Yeah,
it.
like listen to all the tracks of the commentary and see if he brings it up. But,
yeah, that's
but
not a bad idea.
it's a really good shot, and it matches both plots. I mean, this one where Bogey's just going nuts, and then,
Gold
and
Fever.
Gollum too. It's a really common theme, I think. Just like
see what happens
the
when
use
you're dead for a
of
while?
reflections
They
and
kinda forget
mirrors
you're there.
in movies where you have when you have a character that's going nuts.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
with like in The Shining, where
which I just
where
was
Jack
watching
Nicholson
yesterday.
is like walking past, going into the gold room, and he's passing all those mirrors,
and every time he passes the mirror, he fucking
like,
freaks out.
Yeah.
Which I was just marveling at that scene again yesterday watching it.
But yeah, it's a common thing, and like I think when you have a character that's really kind of splitting off from himself like that, it's just like that's kind of like a natural thing that you would go to, and that like I'm sure that just like sparked right in Pete Jackson's
it just
mind.
came
It's just like
just
it's like dude, that's exactly what we got to do. The guy's looking for water, he finds water, he's like going nuts from the gold. He's like looking at that it's just it fits. It totally fits. And I wouldn't blame you.
Unless
blame him at all.
Unless you asked him and he's like, nope.
Yeah.
But okay. All
Never
right.
seen it.
So go ahead, Chris.
So good. Okay, gold doesn't blow away in the wind.
Yeah,
like
please. Actually, while it's your turn, tell us.
Okay, first credentials first.
Yes,
please
I'm
tell
a
us
gold
where
miner. I was raised on a gold mine, born on a gold mine. In fact, not in a hospital, in a gold mine, in a tunnel. No, just kidding. But yeah, no, we mined
was a
gold.
canary.
through a tunnel.
Yeah, my family was gold miners. We owned a couple gold mines. Have mined gold firsthand since the age of 3. I don't know, 2, whatever.
So you are as about as big of an expert on gold as we could get.
Well,
here.
No, but
well,
I have experience.
The ones that we have access
He has
to.
more experience
right
than
now?
any of us.
Yeah,
here.
that's what I'm saying. You're the expert among the group. So if you would care to take this time to just because and
accuracies are for the whole thing or what?
If there's a few that stuck out because I was able to totally suspend my disbelief. You know what I mean? Because and even in light of the information you were giving, it didn't really bother me. But I mean, if
it wasn't too bad.
If you could
Gold's
sort of
really
talk
heavy.
about what was accurate and what wasn't accurate about the gold. I mean,
well, it's a common theme really in movies. That gold is just constantly portrayed as being much, much lighter than it really is.
Oh my god, I was just watching a movie and I was laughing at it because I
What, like the
all right.
Italian Job?
No.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, really.
No. Well, those are actually like good depictions of like the weight of it. What I was thinking, and I'm sure it'll come to me like as soon as we shut this podcast off. But this woman like has a briefcase full of gold.
Yeah, right.
And she's like offering it, and she's just like holding it with one arm.
No.
And so
And
gold
it's
is
like open.
just like
presented
gold
like
is
this.
super heavy then.
It's
Oh, yeah.
incredibly
yeah.
heavy.
Incredibly heavy.
One bar, you would be like, oh.
Well,
seriously.
the Cinemarijuana Theatre isn't exactly the most affluent of neighborhoods, so my experience with the gold handling is minimal.
Right.
Shall we
Secondly,
say.
you very, very, very rarely are going to get all fine gold like that. When you find gold, you're basically digging up underground rivers and stuff like that, like different places. Gold sinks down through the loose dirt and stuff like that, and the way you get gold is you dig down past that stuff, that top layer of earth, and it sits on bedrock.
Right.
It can't fall below the bedrock because the bedrock's like really compact together and it's clay, and it just
Right.
kind of sits on top of it. But anyway, when you're digging it up like that, you never find just dust, like all dust. There's going to be a portion of the gold that's like that because the water like grinds it down or whatever happens.
But it's going to
on
be
the
like
process,
little
right?
rocks and nuggets and
Yeah,
chunks.
you're gonna find gold that's coarse. You're gonna find coarse gold, and you're gonna find some dust. And even that dust is way too heavy to be blowing around in the wind. Like, I could see if they cut the bags open, and like the gold was sitting on the ground, and it was really windy, and it just got covered. Because I mean, it would
Well,
pretty much just try to sink right down through the earth. after that,
Okay.
But, there's no way. it
But
would
the
flow
idea
away
that like
that.
a pile of gold dust is going to like blow away.
It's not gonna happen. No, you're just gonna take like hurricane type forces of wind.
Okay.
They wouldn't be standing.
Worse. Okay, we're higher strength winds than the kind we saw in the film.
Yes, incredibly high.
Okay.
strength winds.
Were there any other anything else about the gold that stuck out to you as like that's not right or that's actually pretty accurate?
It was awesome the way they portrayed the pyrite because I knew right away. I was like, "That's pyrite." Like it's just going right down a rock, and like people that have never seen gold before, you see them see pyrite, and they
They freak
turn
out.
Their
flush,
eyes light up.
and they freak out. I've literally seen like city slickers
Wow.
like, do that. At least a dozen times, like just freaking out. You show it to them, and you're like, it's not. It's
So
nothing.
real gold doesn't look like that. It doesn't like sort of streak down like rocks
can't.
like that.
It can, but there's, it's not going to be. Well, I mean, normally gold doesn't sit on the top like that. I have heard stories of when they actually came to like California originally, you could just pick nuggets out of the.
There was so
out of the
much
river.
gold.
Yeah, but other people did collect the gold. Indians actually collected gold just because it was, like
It's pretty.
a cool looking object. And
Yeah.
stuff like that. They did have gold. They gave it up for nothing because it was just kind of a cool looking thing. I think.
Isn't it
but-
actually a metal? Isn't it like just a really soft metal technically?
It's
Gold, yes.
it's a precious metal. Yeah, it's a non-ferrous metal. Yeah,
Okay.
it's its own atom though. Gold. Yeah.
It has kind of crazy properties, right? Like that's why it's been
It's
such a
pretty
weird thing with like
immutable.
alchemy and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't tarnish or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really.
Yeah.
It's really good for getting fingerprints off a non-porous.
Yeah. Superconductor.
Yeah, because you superheat it to a gas, and then it adheres to the oils that come off on your fingerprints.
Wow.
Yeah.
No
you can
shit.
fume it.
Yeah.
Yeah. it'll
No
fume.
shit.
It's pretty cool.
All right. No. Yeah. No. I
Dropping the knowledge on.
I know. I thought
Cinemarijuana
they were just
Theatre
making
today.
fucking earrings out of the shit.
Yeah. That would have been a ton of gold too if it was panned down like that. That's not called ore at that point anymore. That's just whatever type of gold you have, either coarse gold or
Or like
Fine gold.
flake, right?
Right.
yeah, flake.
Yeah.
But flake really just falls into it's coarse. It's all coarse. Anything that's not nuggets, which is like like that big, like big nuggets.
For our listeners.
Pea-sized.
Yeah. Oh
watching
yeah,
this.
sorry. Maybe quarter, like quarter size.
Yeah.
Those are like big nuggets.
Actually, it's funny that we would be
Plankers.
talking
There's all sorts of terms.
so much about nuggets with this Ned Flanders death metal band. I was thinking if Ned Flanders was a pot smoker, what do you call him? Like diddly ank nuggly uggets?
I don't know.
I was just okay.
Hey, speaking of nugs, I read that there was a doctor that was on the set during the Mexico unit, and which one of them was like trying weed for the first time
Oh,
and like
what?
freaked out, and they had to get the doctor.
Awesome.
Hang on a sec.
Yeah, please.
So were they
So
actually
wait,
smoking weed?
so there's a pot related story to this film?
Yes.
Dude,
that's
yes.
perfect for the
I knew
Cinemarijuana.
that wasn't
All
tobacco
right.
they were smoking.
Dude, the
Hang on,
Were they
hang
actually
on,
smoking
where
weed
is
out?
it?
Where is
19,
it?
19 episodes of the Cinemarijuana Theatre, and we finally get a legit
All right,
pot
here it is.
connection.
So a doctor was assigned to the unit in Mexico, and one night he had to attend to John Huston,
Dude,
John Huston.
yeah.
John, you
who had an
Gandalf,
adverse reaction to
Brandalf.
marijuana, having smoked it for the first time with his father.
Nice.
With his father.
Dude,
Way to
they
go.
just got 10 times cooler.
Oh, and that was it for him. Never again.
Well,
Last time he touched it.
maybe he's a drinker. At least he tried it.
Yeah.
You know, some people
With Pops.
Some people are, you know.
I wonder how Pops liked it.
I don't know. Somehow,
Did you see him during that movie? He loved
somehow,
it.
no. That's what I'm saying. Looking at his face, dude, I bet he burned all the time, and I'll bet you he's the one that turned him on to it. He's like, "Yo, we're down in Mexico.
Yeah.
They put us in jail for this up north, but like, you gotta try this,
Dude, I think a
bet
stoner
you.
term might have been actually coined at that during the filming of that movie. I'll bet you they gave it to that one dude and he just bogarted it the whole time.
Don't bogart that
Yeah.
joint comes from.
That's it. I think that's
No
where that
shit.
comes
You
from.
heard it here first.
I think that movie comes from
That's a Cinemarijuana Theatre exclusive.
Chestnut approved.
Dude, fucking mind's blown.
Killing my ass.
I know. I'm gonna do better for these chairs soon. Don't worry. Okay, so let's get back on track here then. So Chris,
Oh, sorry.
finish up your thoughts then. You don't need to necessarily school us on the gold anymore if you don't
Okay,
want, but
yeah,
finish
no.
up your thoughts on the film.
It was great, amazing. So many iconic moments in that film. Just like overall, like yeah, literally shot for shot. I'll bet you could just sit and analyze and compare it to different films like all over the place.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Just the different like. Yeah. Anyway.
yeah.
Very influential.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Very influential. But I don't know.
How about stars? What do you
Stars, yeah.
I'm gonna say
What are you
4
gonna rank it?
stars.
4 stars. All right, excellent. Condi, your turn. Talk to us on the Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. I was
Yes.
part of the half that's seen this movie before, and I've seen this movie tons and tons of times.
Yes,
And it doesn't lose anything any time I see it.
it gets better.
It gets better. I can understand why people don't like this movie. So I'll definitely
Are
not fault
oh,
Kenzie for not liking it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are there those people? And then I
Well-
was like, oh, wait a minute.
I mean, come on.
I'm like,
Well,
oh, yeah,
I
there's
was
one right here.
the sole one that hated Wolf of Wall Street.
Well,
I
I mean,
remember that.
yeah, no. I mean, it's obviously, you know, I mean,
love that movie.
you know, like if it's not you know her type of movie, and like I said, I feel like in retrospect that like I might have, it is a little same veiny as Shaney, so I thought maybe
Saying veiny for the Bone Zone.
yeah, so maybe I should have sort of skewed a little different time or different genre or something. But anyways, go ahead.
There's so much to this movie. Great shots. I mean, even in black and white, you can just the way the shots go, you can imagine like the lush landscape and how everything would be colored naturally in your head.
The desert is such a wonderful character in the film. We should give a shout out to the gotta be deceased director of photography or the cinematographer of the film. Got it right here.
Yeah, because Peter Jackson won't give him any credit.
Ted D. McCord.
To the burn clinic.
Ted D. McCord, who was also DP on. He died in '76. He was born in 1900.
Sound of
Holy
Music.
shit!
He had to die. The
Sound
year I
of
was
Music, East of Eden. This guy's
Wow.
got
Those are credentials.
158 cinematographer credits, including those. Let's see what else. He just worked and worked and worked.
Well, I
Revenge
mean,
of Huck Finn, The Hanging Tree. East of Eden.
Three stuff three in. Sorry, I don't know.
East of Threeden. Ooh, we did one called The Damned Don't Cry. That sounds pretty rad. A
John
lot of
Melendez.
films
Twist
in the
of Threeden.
40s. Stan
Twist
Kenton and
of
his
Threeden.
orchestra. Lots of stuff in the 40s. Okay, so a prolific guy who obviously knows what he's doing.
and the acting in this movie was amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen a good 90% of Bogey's body of work, and this is his best film, hands down.
I agree. I haven't seen as much as you have, but I am a fan of his, and I watch his films whenever I have the opportunity. And based on everything that I've seen, because let's face it, he was a working guy, he was a contract guy, he's a studio player.
Yeah.
So all of those guys did a lot of like okay average stuff. Edward G. Robinson, Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, all the stars of the time, Dick Powell, whatever. They did a lot of average stuff. Also a lot of good, and they're good in it, but never has he brought this kind of heat, this kind of intensity.
Yeah.
You're like you don't see Bogey, you don't think of him as like the caricature that you think of. He's just lost in the madness.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like, Angels with Dirty Faces Bogey or African Queen Bogey.
Right.
Or just take any number of his films, Maltese Falcon, Casablanca. It's just there's no comparing what he does in those films to what he does in this film.
Yeah.
He's just amazing when it comes to just when he starts talking to himself and
his slow descent.
Then when he's just crazy and he's sitting there and this is another thing too where it just if Peter Jackson just did not steal it, I just don't know. Like after he's quote unquote killed Curtin.
You like Super 8, right?
No, I know there's a lot of stolen stuff in Super 8.
I just wanted to make sure. Go ahead.
Trust me.
Go ahead,
please. And he's like trying to get along, and then he's all like, "Okay, I'm gonna bury him." No, everything's gonna get him, and you see him literally physically switching kind of sides.
Yeah.
To it, where he starts talking, he's all like, "Oh, I got to bury him, so that way nobody's gonna come looking for him and nobody will find him." And then he switches. He's all like, "No, the tiger's gonna get him, and it's gonna eat him. There's not even gonna be bone left of him." And then he switches back. He's all like, "Well, maybe I didn't kill him.
Yeah.
And maybe he just, it's so amazing. That part alone, right there,
the height of paranoia, really,
is just." And it just makes me think that you can go off into the whole paranoia thing, and it's just like, is he really dead? Because they never even saw his body.
Well, I don't even.
They passed by the little.
They rode right through the little ditch that he would have been lying down,
Yeah.
but they must have done something. They wouldn't have just left the body there.
Yeah, and then I thought like,
think they'd
okay,
be
maybe
that
it was
stupid.
like a day in between, like, but they didn't even show them like, hey, this is where your friend's buried. They killed him,
But did they even care at that point?
Who knows?
Dude, because Fred C. Dobbs, for all of his financial fucking contribution, went from being a pretty fucking upright guy to being a real son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Straight up.
Absolutely.
Cunt.
So, like, yeah, right. The C is for cunt. So, I mean, at the same time, I can't honestly see...
No, do
I can't
I
see Walter
actually think
Houston
he
and
lived?
Tim Hole
No.
like shedding any tears or even really giving a shit what happened to him, because they must know that nothing good became of him. Obviously,
Well, no, but it could be funny that he could just like be alive and go back to the mountain and just be like, "This is my mountain." And he just lives up there.
he all survived. That's the sequel.
Yeah,
That's the sequel
That's the
right
sequel.
there.
Yeah.
Fred C. Dobbs survives, crawls back up the mountain, right?
Yeah.
Finds a way to like nurse his wounds.
And then receives all the gold that the wind has blown back to him.
Yeah, spends his days like collecting it
But he
up.
can't spend it
And
because
no.
he's out in the
Well,
wilderness.
he won't spend
He
it.
just goes crazy
Because
He can't
in the
leave it there
wilderness with
because
his
somebody
gold.
might
because
take it.
spending it is losing it.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Dude, we need to pitch this to Hollywood.
And then
Stat.
And then what's his face? The other guy's kid could go back and take a journey like back up to the mountain to try
Cody-
and get
Cody's,
the gold
Cody's
son.
a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
and his
come looking for
and his
revenge.
trusty companion.
And he comes back with Curtin because Curtin said he was gonna go like visit his widow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Curtin's kid.
There,
Or,
maybe
not Curtin,
a
the other guy's
legend
kid.
could start about
Curtin,
El
the other kid.
El Diablo,
Yeah.
El Dobbs
He'll-
Diablo.
Yeah.
He'll part the curtains. And
Up in the mountain, like El Dobbs Diablo could become like this rumored
Dobbs
like
Diablo.
evil force up in the
Dobbs
mountainside.
Diablo.
So like people won't go up there like, oh no, El Dobbs Diablo es muy malo, like Peligroso.
Hey, he could build like a huge, like life-size fireball island thing that turns a giant head. rolls boulders down at you.
He just rolled. Where the fuck is he getting boulders?
I guess he's making them. I don't know.
Dude,
Out of
he's
his own
rolling
feces.
boulders, dude. Boulders of gold. Boulders of gold he's rolling. He's awesome. Just rolling them straight down. Like they're all, oh no, oh yes.
But no.
Because like first it brings
Okay.
death, then it brings dinner. The Golders rolling down the hill.
Well, but wouldn't you be dead?
Well, no, but it's not going to roll over everyone in the fucking town.
Do you mean dinner for
It's just the ones that are
I
in the
see.
trench.
Yeah, the ones that are
The
trying
boulders.
to, like people have to slow it down with their lives,
I see.
so that the people at the bottom can harvest the
There's
gold and
enough
make
So, like,
nice
eventually-
dinner out of it.
So eventually he'd become like some sort of hero.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yes.
Maybe.
Oh shit. No. Okay.
Who
We're
knows?
we're
This is
gonna
really
have to go
gonna-
back to the chopping block on this one and,
Okay.
and rethink.
Yeah, this is really gonna.
We're gonna-
Not
Chopping-
chestnut
chopping
approved.
block. Yeah. This is the antithesis of chestnut approved now.
Chestnut
It's-
disapproved.
It's gone way off the rails. Okay, Condi, back to you. Sorry.
Yeah, and for people that actually have more of a heart than I do, that have like real human emotions, there's lots of underlying things to this, especially when he's in the original town, which I can't think of the name of it.
Tampico, like the
Tampico.
awful
El
drink,
Chingon.
And he's and he's
like the terrible orange drink. Tampico.
getting the money from John Huston every time, and then John Huston's all like, "Man, why are you putting the bite on me?"
Yeah.
He's all like, "I'm sorry, mister. I didn't look at your face. I didn't know it was you. I just look at your hand."
Yeah, and the
You
money
know,
you were
it's-
giving me.
Yeah, and it's just all like, no, that's why I like the guy. I can give you money, but I'll give you a fucking job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't pay him either. And then that great bar fight too.
That was a rat
I'm sorry,
punch
did
up.
you want that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
Took them like 5 days to shoot that scene.
The punch up?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they had to get it right. I mean, if they got the set built,
Yeah.
fuck it. I mean, well, it's easy to say that in the age of digital photography, but I mean, it was worth it. You know what I mean? Whatever the budget was on this motherfucker, who cares? I don't give a shit. Like whatever they spent on it, like good
good.
job, guys. That's money well spent, as far as
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
It's
Whether-
history now.
Whether they made it back or not, you guys made an indelible
It's like
piece
the
of fucking
pyramids.
cinematic
Who
history.
cares how they built it? How long it took?
Yeah.
Awesome.
or what it cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
Even
Actually, how
though
they built
at the
it.
time that was probably the most important.
And
thing.
you just got to think, like, did they help drive him crazy too?
Yeah,
The old
that's
man
something.
did.
That's something I kind of want to talk about a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I keep
Let's talk
thinking about
about
that Gila monster scene. Is like he's trying to protect his stake, his third, and then
They were really antagonizing the crazy in him.
Yeah.
though.
yeah,
really were.
that part right there, especially you're yellow, ain't you? We don't want our partner to be yellow. Blah blah blah. This and that. Like, dude,
Well, he-
fuck,
he
dude,
was-
I might have shot you.
Okay,
the
he
very
was
second-
twisting the knife a bit.
The
Yeah.
very second the old man had fucking what's his face? Not Bogart, but
Curtin.
Yeah, had Curtin spread apart from Bogart. He turned him. Like that very first time. The first time he was alone with him, you could see Bogart came back and the old man had told him like, yeah, I seen guys, go crazy and do all the shit.
But he was
And
already
that guy's
doing
like,
it.
yeah, as soon as I get some gold, I'm going to do this.
Okay, look, let's stop talking about that right now.
Okay, sorry.
Because we don't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, I actually
let's
have
get
to
let's get through let's get through the star ratings, the opinions, and then let's get back to this so we can all discuss it. Because
Okay,
this is something I did want to talk about.
Then
Yeah.
this definitely gets a 5 out of 5, solid 5.
Excellent.
I'd give it higher if I could. This is amazing movie all around, and we should be a classic from now until eternity.
Perfectamundo. Dr. Matlis,
I love this movie.
you had not seen it before, correct?
Nope. In fact, I'm a little bit lacking in a lot of Bogey's work. So
Yeah.
Well,
Fully
yeah, like I said, a lot of his canon is regular studio stuff that didn't really like stick out too much. But then there are those big ones.
yeah, and
Your
the
Maltese
big
Falcon.
ones are. It's definitely this one's definitely a different character than the one like you normally like any like film layman. As I mostly consider myself. It's
Right.
just like when you think of Bogey, it's like it's
you-
like the Casablanca. It's like you
think
think
of
of the
him-
guy that's like the nice suit, like
Yeah,
combed back
you
hair,
think of him.
just,
It's
like,
either
really,
Sam Spade or Casablanca.
Yes,
You don't, but
yes.
he would more often than not he was a bad guy.
which is interesting. 'Cause I'm gonna have to watch more of it now, but it's like this is not the kind of Humphrey Bogart that you're used to,
Right.
And
It's not your mom's Bogart, dude.
no, it's not.
It's not.
It's not the Bogart you want to take home to mama.
Nope. Nope. That is, dude. Chestnut disapproved.
No, so yeah, but I really liked the movie. The kind of the build up, it was a little bit slow, like actually like getting out to the site, and like there's a lot of stuff. It's it's like
But
it's just all character building, which is
you
it
really
doesn't
get to know him though.
Yeah, you do.
That is something I wanted to mention. I appreciated though, like, because you've got to set these things up. But I felt Walter Houston wasted no time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take something like The Wages of Fear, where you spend 45 minutes in this town, like slow character building. Now, the more times I see that film, the more I love it, and the more I appreciate it, and the more I get what Clouseau's doing, and I'm into it. But that being said, all the build-up stuff is like bang, 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 super short. There's just a bit of it to get to where you sort of you see where the story's kind of
and
going.
none of it is really superfluous.
Right, right.
It's like right off the bat, he's in the bar, and the kid's trying to get him to buy a lottery ticket. And he just doesn't want to be bought. It's like get the fuck away from me, kid.
Yeah, kids
And
trying to
like-
beg for money
then-
from the guy
Yeah.
who he begged for money from. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
he meets
exactly.
the guy, and then they get the job, and it only shows them on the job really quick, and you set up
Yeah.
that this guy is obviously fucking conning them out of money.
Yeah.
And then bang, you're back on the land. The 8 weeks or 15 weeks,
Yeah,
or whatever's over,
yeah.
and they want their money. And I
But
thought
it definitely sets up their way of life.
yeah,
They're trying to get
They're-
from like one
they're-
job to the
yeah.
other.
You
It's
feel
like
their
for sure,
desperation.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you
and
really feel it.
You do feel that. And when this opportunity comes by to just like strike it rich, they find this guy that apparently knows everything there is to know about this opportunity.
He's been around.
Yeah, and oh man, he totally has. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like he just schools them.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, can
and-
you imagine them out there without him, like in the beginning?
Oh, they
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
have made it. Dude,
yeah,
forget
yeah,
it.
died day one.
Forget it.
Yeah, but the movie as a whole, it's just like there's so many good pieces to it, and it all fits together so nicely.
Yeah.
And the acting, like Humphrey Bogart, yeah, I mean we've all talked about it now, but just like the descent into just like paranoid delusions,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's just so well done.
Yeah. And like
And,
he becomes like darker and darker and
Yeah.
crazier and crazier looking.
Yeah,
and
good
it's
job
like-
on
It's just
makeup.
his face
Yeah.
changes.
Way to go,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's like he gets dirtier and dirtier.
Yeah.
It's like Ed's descent into drunkenness. He gets like louder and
Yeah,
happier
yeah.
and dances more.
Yeah.
Starts talking to himself.
Yeah, oh, he does.
He thinks he's talking to everybody, but no one's listening.
But no one. Yeah, that's it.
We're
That's
not
it.
even
the
there.
mic. The mic isn't turned on.
But yeah, there are some really interesting scenes that I think kind of foreshadowed like his kind of going crazy, because I don't
Right.
think he was really showing any signs when they're at the campfire and they're talking about like, oh, what are you gonna do? Like when we get our money, we go back to civilization.
Right.
And I was trying to think of the character's name.
Fred C. Dobbs.
Dobbs, yeah, Dobbsy. He doesn't like really have any kind of plan. He's just like
Right.
his whole plan is just like have as much gold as possible.
Like
and
he's
then, like,
the
live.
only one not thinking like down the road. He's the only one
Yeah.
like thinking of like the immediate gratification of living like high on the hog.
Yeah, and once it's gone, then
Yeah.
what
Back to square one.
back to square one. Yeah, then
There's
go
always
get
stabbing.
another
Well,
job.
Yeah, there's a little bit of foreshadowing that he's the one that's going to lose it. Is that he's the one always giving up first. Like, I'll tell you what, I'm going to just turn back, when he's lying
Yeah.
down on like one of their rest stops. And super quick piece of like small trivia to interrupt Dr. Matlis here. There is a MASH episode in the first season, I believe it is, like episode 22 or something like that. That's called Major Fred C. Dobbs.
Nice.
And
Wow.
it's a gold episode
What does that mean?
where they trick like Frank Burns into like rescinding his transfer because they make him believe that there is like tons of gold, and he just goes like gold crazy and tries to find it all.
Wow.
And,
But there's no gold.
And like tries to cancels his transfer and everything.
What a
so.
cool callback.
Yeah, no shit.
I have to revisit that.
Ugh.
Yeah, and also the scene after he thinks that he's killed Curtin.
Yes.
It's just, oh my god,
Yeah.
I was getting chills.
Yeah.
like I was really getting chills on that.
Yeah.
because when he's just like talking to himself, and then it really is this kind of like this schizophrenic kind of conversation that
Yeah.
he's having.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so good. And the old guy.
Walter Houston.
Oh
yeah.
my God, so much love for that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was just the best part.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like the heart of the film.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, he's the linchpin.
You know what I mean? For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. He absolutely is. I mean, he basically, you know, if you're rooting for somebody, it's him. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah. And
I was rooting for the Mexicans. What the fuck you're talking
Your
about?
peoples?
All these white people over there? Fuck that.
I
I
think,
don't need them to win. There's already too much winning for them.
So, yeah.
No, but I think it was I think
I
it was a good thing that like at the end of the movie when the when the light as a feather gold blows away in the desert wind,
as it commonly does.
that he's the one that starts laughing.
Right.
Because it's like, what do you do at that point? It's
Yeah.
like you gotta just
Yeah.
take your lumps. It's like
That's it, wouldn't it? Yeah.
you
Back to the
live.
Mamacita.
Fate has dealt you a fucking shit hand.
Yeah.
And you just gotta
He
fucking
can laugh
play
all
it.
he wants. He's gonna go back and get a blowjob
Oh,
from that
yeah,
hot
I
Mexican
know.
chick, feeding him the lime after his tequila.
Yeah.
All he's got to
Shit,
do now
I'd
is
laugh too. Fuck you guys. I'm
Okay,
gonna go get blown.
So,
But he's kind of like
continue his career
he's the teacher.
halfway
You know?
drowning
He's
kids and then
like
bringing him back.
he's the one that was their guide going out there and like taught him everything they had to know about
Yeah, absolutely.
prospecting. But it's like also coming back to reality, and it's like, oh shit, all this stuff happened, and now you're penniless again. It's like, well, I told you like how to go out there into the wilderness and make a fortune, and like this is how you got to do it when you go back to reality.
Well, and think about it.
You've had like losses,
think about
gains
it.
and losses.
Walter
you know?
Houston has been through it before. That's how he gets them into it to begin with.
Yeah.
He obviously has had it and then
And
lost
then lost it, yeah.
Because that's why they're able to meet him in the beginning in the first place.
Yeah, he's just as
So-
down and out as they are.
So if anybody understands like how quickly like that fortune can fade, it's him.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Well, yeah, because
his
he-
very existence has been that.
He's having that speech with the other guys that they're listening into about like how he had like tons of money. He just like squandered it away,
Right.
and then at the end of the movie, Curtin, he's he gets a piece of that from Houston's character, and it's just all like, well, I guess if you really look at it, I'm only out $200.
Well, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, he's actually a little richer.
kind of the way you got
still.
to think about
Yeah.
it.
Right.
It's like you got to when you go to the casino.
Yeah.
You got like a $100 bill in your pocket, or if you're a high roller, and that's if you come up a bunch and then you lose it all, it's like that was like your admission. Well,
You knew it.
the $100. It's like
Yeah.
that. Well, I don't know.
You,
That's the way I
you bought
think
you
about
bought
it.
experience with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Still cheaper than going to Disneyland.
So yeah, no shit.
The other thing that I thought was that was just making me laugh was the scene when they're when the old guy goes back to the village and it's just the two of them,
Right.
and they're like they're staring down each other by the campfire light.
Oh yeah.
And like I'm betting you're gonna fall asleep before me,
And he's actually experiencing joy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like Dobbs is like happy.
Yeah.
Like it's like the only time like he's smiling is when he's gonna get rid of
Yeah.
Curtin
Just
somehow
waiting,
because
just
it's
waiting
almost
for the moment.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like when he feels that sort of finish line is in sight. Like he's like
Yeah.
like he's
I was
fucking
really hoping for like a morning scene, like when they wake up, or I mean,
Oh, well,
when the
Curtin
sun
wakes
rises,
up.
when the sun rises, and they're like both staring at each other,
yeah.
and it would be like in like Ren and Stimpy when you go for like that close up,
Oh yeah,
and it's like the
just
hand
red,
drawn,
the veins,
and they just
the
look
eyes.
like
Yeah.
shit.
The huge bags, like
They
the
don't even
zits.
move. They don't even move.
Totally.
You just see the sun like rising and setting, rising and setting. Rising
Yeah.
And
Okay.
their beards growing.
yeah.
So
5 stars for me.
5 stars. Excellent. Okay. So me, yeah. I obviously adore this film, which is why I picked it. Seen it a couple of times before. The first time, this film, it's the drama. It's so wonderful. This film just takes you on a ride that once it hooks you. And I know, like, for, a lot of people, like, the character development, because especially here in the West, we're used to very, sort of plot-driven stuff. But, I mean, this is sort of a great combination because it is, of course, plot-driven. But the characters are, it's character. The characters are what's important the most. So once the film finally hooks you, it takes you for this ride that you're just like, holy shit! Like when the first time I watched it, right, like, and Curtin goes back to the village for supplies, runs into that guy Cody at the general store or whatever, and he starts grilling him about what he's doing out there and stuff, and I knew it was going to be a problem for them.
Yeah, totally. But it was a really interesting scene because both of those guys are really smart.
Yeah, and they were feeling each other out.
The scene when Cody is kind of like giving him the options. It's like, okay, you got these three
that
options.
Part.
That was like, okay, this guy is a smart fella.
Well, when he first shows up, though, before they get to that bit, like, I was like, because I had to actually, like, pause the movie at that point when he gets up there with them. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? What is this? What is this guy's business? Like, what does he want? Like, well, where is this gonna go? And I was generally like dying to fucking find out. And then like it rolls into the next twist where like he breaks it down for them like straight up. And I'm thinking like, just cut him in at this point.
Yeah,
like don't be stupid, just cut him in. And because because the three of them are almost like the whole id, ego, and super ego thing. You've got Dobbs is the id, obviously, who's just like raging and he's very visceral, wants to kill. And you've got,
Curtin's like the
is he like which one's the ego? Yeah, because
Curtin's the ego
because the old man is the egalitarian. You know what I mean? The super ego is the one that's going to go like overboard and trying to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah,
right.
Whereas like the id is all about like I'm going to just destroy everything. So it airs on the side of like wanting to kill him, and you're like, what? But then all of a sudden, then the bandits show up, and you don't know what's going to happen. And like I said, it has this unifying effect all of a sudden now. And then just the plot twist, I mean, the acting, everything. This movie is really just really wonderful. The sets and location shots are amazing. Even I'm pretty sure this was shot on both, but even though they transition, like a lot of the night shots are on a set, but the day shots are on the mountain, it wasn't obtrusive. It didn't take me out of it. This movie's just fucking rad, just straight up rad all around.
But how do you really feel?
I just think that it's like 2 stars.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So the whole Gollum bit. Just great, like it turns into like Lord of the Rings, kind of like in the middle where he just loses it. And
isn't it like Lord of the Rings turns into
but I've seen Lord of the Rings first, so when I see Treasure of Sierra Madre, like,
and you think
I'm referencing guy. now when my mind is making the connection, it's referencing what's coming.
Do you think that wind in the end was from eagles?
Yeah. Why?
Okay.
Why here?
Like huge.
Why here was
like,
suffering
and the
from
mountain
trapped
is actually
wind.
Mordor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I
Horizon
think we
God.
established that mountain is Mordor, right?
So I'm going to give this movie 5 stars because I think it's
Better give your
super
own movie
wonderful. 5. So all right. So while we've still got some time, let's talk about the couple things I want to talk about. Like, okay, so. Whose side were you on, and were sort of was Curtin any was there were all 3 characters equally greedy? Oh Jesus, please don't do that. That's so noisy.
Yes, I think they were equally greedy.
Can't drop it when it's
okay,
in
if somebody, because I'm thinking no, and if somebody wants to make an argument for why they are, I'd love to hear it.
Were they equally greedy? No.
See, I don't think so either.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't
please.
They were all greedy as shit.
Okay, explain.
Obviously, Bogey. That's self-explanatory.
He's the
right?
gimme.
That's I don't even need to explain that. Houston's character, definitely greedy as shit, because he's always telling them, if I was a little younger.
Oh,
wow, that's loud.
Oh, we have time.
Jesus. I'm gonna invoke
and that ends the podcast right there.
I'm gonna invoke
well, that does it for the Sarah Marijuana Theatre.
some overtime here. So Condi,
Join us next week.
Continue.
Okay, and so
I gotta get going.
We're almost done.
He's always telling them, if I was just a little younger, I'd be taking this shit myself.
Yeah.
He tells him, like, I'd take off.
Yeah, but then again, his
because
actions
he tells
don't
him he's
speak
the most
to
honest
that.
one the entire time.
Well, he
only
didn't say
because
honest,
he's
he
so
said
old.
most trustworthy.
Only because he's
Was
so
he-
old.
He did.
So
sort
he's
of-
not honest. He's only trustworthy because he's an old
Because
guy,
he's
and he knows he
incapable.
can't get away with it.
Because he's enfeebled.
Well,
Yes.
I
but-
disagree, though.
But do you have to be doughy and unknowing to be righteous or whatever?
Well,
in that?
think about
I feel like the dude talking.
his actions don't tell the same story as his words.
No, but his actions are more like work smarter, not harder. It's like, why do you have to fight all these Mexican guys? It's like they would have gotten away with the banditos when they came up, when they were trying to trade the watch for the gun and stuff.
Right.
If the id, Bogey, the greediest one, didn't do anything because they weren't going to find them.
Yeah, he had to say some shit.
He had to say something, and then they found them all.
Right.
Okay, and so because he was telling everybody like, okay, just hold your fire and this and that, like, and of
Put
course,
that motherfucker back because every time the cord moves, it's noisy.
so like, he's got the smarts to do it, but he doesn't have the youth to pull it off.
He's got
And
this
as far as Curtin is concerned, now he's gonna go either way. He just needs the opportunity, like most thieves do.
Well, but he had the opportunity several times.
And
I
he
thought.
never was interested in taking it.
Yeah.
He gave the gun back to.
After taking out the bullets.
Well, yeah, but that's because he's got to de-escalate the situation somehow. Fucking Bogart just drew down on his ass. He doesn't want to get shot. But I don't know. But because like I see Curtin as like having like on numerous occasions.
Curtin's the 50-50 dude. They really highlight, especially with the music and in John Huston films, they really highlight when he's about to do something good. You hear it all, springtimey and all doom and gloom when something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But everybody's glossing over the point that Curtin was the deciding factor on going to kill Cody.
Yeah,
almost-
but I don't know. But his decision wasn't done out of necessarily paranoia, but I guess like really like you're not really trying to share.
I'm not trying to
either.
call him paranoia. I'm trying to
You're
call
right.
him greedy.
He was willing to murder over future profits.
Exactly.
That's true.
I think something like that glosses over like, okay, maybe he saved Bogey, but he saved Bogey because like, okay, he's already here, and maybe he's thinking I haven't paid it, and then at that point he hadn't quote unquote paid him back, for bringing him there.
In a way, though, I think he. That sounds stupid. I think he agrees to murder the guy to calm things down. I think he just doesn't want.
Well, and that could be another slant on it too.
It says here just to interject
the
this.
only time we see Curtin's will tested or whatever is that first time that the cave.
When
The
they have
cave
the
in.
cave
You
in.
see him
Oh.
consider
him go.
You see him
Good
consider
point.
not rescuing him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he decides right there. And after that,
I
I
forgot
think,
about
I feel
that
like he
scene.
tries to follow that same philosophy. Like, well,
to
there's gonna be cave-ins. I've got to keep.
err on the side of morality.
Yeah.
basically.
Oh, but he was right there. He was about to walk away.
Yeah,
No, I
especially
think-
because
First time you
he
see
doesn't
him
answer
really-
back.
Tempted, and then he just.
Because he
And-
calls in for him, he's like Dobbs, and he doesn't answer back. So you almost see him like you see
And that's
him
why I
totally
say
like, be
he's
like
the 50-50 guy, so he can
Yeah.
go either way.
Huh.
So that's why I think they're all equally as greedy, and I was definitely cheering for Bogey.
Wow. Really? Wow.
Of
Because
course.
the old guy, he's seen his days, he's had his mother loads. I'm sorry, you've had enough time, you've brought us this far, thank you, old man. Godspeed. Curtin, you're too much of an indecisive pussy.
He didn't even have the money to
I
do it
don't
in the
know
first
that
place.
he
Yeah.
was not indecisive.
I like that about him.
I didn't think he was indecisive.
Yes, he
His
was.
indecisiveness.
He was indecisive the whole time. He was on the fence about everything.
I guess.
And he got nudged over mostly by the old man because the old man, saw
Yeah,
saw
he
what was going to
definitely
happen
does.
with Bogey.
He gets swayed right in the beginning, yeah.
yeah.
And then Bogey, he knows what he wants. He wants to give me the fucking money, man. I'm going to take this shit. I'm going to go. And, I
But
love
don't you see that his? I don't know, because his.
And I really love how he talks about what are you gonna do when you get back? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And even if I have the greatest meal, I'm gonna yell at the waiter. I'm gonna send it back. And then he's pretty much like,
I'm gonna be a
and then
douchebag.
and then
He's a real asshole.
without even saying it, he
He's looking for
says,
an excuse to be an asshole.
"Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to get the greatest hooker and get fucking laid." He
Yeah.
doesn't even have to say it, and even the old man knows don't get a woman, man.
Yeah,
he
don't
knows
even
where he's
think
going
about it.
next with that, man. How could you not want to root for that?
Okay, but if you
Yeah,
remove
okay.
Bogart from every piece of that equation, you have a story about two people getting gold and then being rich.
Yeah, I know exactly. Bogey is the conflict.
Yeah,
No,
Bogey
you wouldn't
is
have
the
a story
one
about
that
two people
fucks
getting gold
everything.
because you need Bogey because
That's true.
they wouldn't have the money.
But
No, that's
okay,
true.
the conflict is obviously super rad. I mean, that's the hook in the film, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole time, like, it's pulling me in because I'm thinking just. Bogey, dude, you need to fucking lighten up, like,
Yeah.
like you know
Can't
what
a
I
boulder
mean?
just crush you?
Like you gotta check your shit, dude, because like I don't see how you just cause it's the gold fever. He's just going shitballs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But I'm like, everybody could have been like, okay, first of all, I don't see why when the fucking Indians were like, you need to come stay with us for a week before you fuck off. I don't know why he wasn't like, okay, but my amigos need to come too. He just saved the life of this child.
They didn't wanna
and they
go.
obviously want to treat this guy. Well, he should have tried to talk them into it. But like, it's going to be way safer to just bring all of our shit, just chill
They didn't
out
trust the Indians, though, remember?
in this.
They thought
Bogey
for sure
didn't.
if they brought all their stuff,
But
that
Bogey
they
didn't
would-
trust anybody.
Yeah.
Well, but he especially didn't trust them because he said, "What if they decide that you're
To search the
you're
bags
not
or
our
something.
hero anymore?"
But would they not have not known what the gold was
I don't think
either?
he gave
Just
a
like
shit
the
about that.
bandits at the end.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he says exactly. He said, "What did he say?" He says like, "If what if they decide that you're not their hero or something like to that effect?"
But why would they? He's
anymore.
saving fucking lives.
Well, he doesn't know. He's acting irrationally. But at no point, I don't think they ever considered going. I don't think. he would
Well,
have been
at
able to
any
convince
rate,
them.
I just see like every fucking move Dobbs made was really counterproductive to
Oh, yeah, for
all
sure.
of their goals. And to me, there's like a level of stupidity to the way he's fucking acting because like, dude, you're clearly. Your paranoia denotes you're the most obsessed with this fucking gold and the most obsessed with becoming rich. So why are you going out of your way to fuck shit up? Like
it's funny.
just
Too
You know, it's
impulsive.
funny, and I can tell you that people really have that reaction. to
gold fever, just like I'm
It's
gonna
a
get you,
real.
sucker.
It's a real thing, man. People really.
People
Over
die
gold.
of over gold.
You get a little bit, and it's
reals.
easy. You try, you try, and you'll get some, and like you'll hit it because gold's not like most of the time, unless you have a really big operation. Gold's not like you just consistently get this much gold. It's like you get shit.
A
Holy
ton.
fucking shit! Like you
Right.
get a ton, right? But then you start feeling like you should get that much gold all the time. Anyway, it drives people bonkers, man. They get
Yeah.
fucking hungry.
Yeah.
for
Oh,
it.
I
You want
believe it.
more and
I
more and
absolutely
more.
believe it.
You see their operations just blow up, and then
Why
pretty soon
else would it
that
have
shit's
been a
just
thing
abandoned dude just sitting
for
there
the
nobody's fucking-
entire history of humans?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gold has been like even when modern money was like invented, like
They were
it's
still
backed up
trading
by
gold,
gold.
yeah.
Like gold is like
Yeah.
what secures like theoretically like money. There's gold's supposed to be at least originally supposed to back that shit up. So
Yeah,
like
gold's
since
standard.
the dawn of
Right.
fucking humankind,
Yeah, it's funny they talk about
we've been
it.
obsessed with
It means
gold.
something. It takes work to get it out of the ground.
Like
So
it-
it's a consistent thing that you can measure.
Right,
It's-
right.
It's hard to get. It's a limited.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not not buying the gold. You're buying the labor.
Yeah,
essentially.
Right,
exactly.
right,
Find whatever it takes
and
to-
I mean, I don't know. It just seems to have that kind of like hypnotizing or addicting effect on people.
It's kind of amazing.
Well, and you're not. I don't think you're looking at the movie from Dobbs's point of view. You're looking at it from your point of view.
Well,
So
yes.
of course he's being counterproductive.
Well, but
That's
should
true,
he
but-
not have been able to see at least some point? Is he's
No,
fucking
he-
talking to himself all goddamn day anyway?
he can't.
Can he
he
fucking
can't
have this
The-
conversation?
The point is he can't see it, and this is when like Mr. Wannabe Dudley Do Right, he should have, if he would have left Dobbs alone, everything would have been fine. Dobbs would, maybe still would have died and whatnot. But he could have taken, Curtin could have taken his mules and Houston's mules and visited the Mexican, hyenas
Right.
and just left Dobbs to go be rich.
Sure. Well, okay.
Dobbs is being counterproductive to two of them, but not to himself,
Right.
which is
I get because at
Dobbs
least
is
at least
being-
in his way of looking at it.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
in
being
his mind.
so true to himself, crazy or not. It's it's
But if
pathetic.
he's possessed, is it being true to yourself if you're possessed by gold fever?
Yeah, he's just
yes,
he's
it is because
relinquishing
that's who you
control
are
of
deep
his-
down.
actions to this.
Okay, well,
one
you don't think that
single-minded
he's
desire.
being twisted into something else by this, like that?
Gollum.
Is that not why people like have interventions to get people off of drugs and booze?
Sauron is speaking to him through the oar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
But it's just like, they always tell you find out the type of person you are in, like situations.
Tragedy or crisis or whatever.
Like, are you the hero? You don't necessarily have to be a hero. That doesn't matter.
Or are you
maybe
the
that's
asshole?
That's not your type of person. He's the type of person that wants
Asshole?
money. He's got lots of money. He always said, like, I'd only take what I wanted and I just leave. And they pointed that out very poignantly after the bar fight when he only took the 300
and threw the rest of his money back in his fucking face.
Yeah, threw the rest back. So, someone who hadn't seen this movie might be thinking like, oh, okay, this may turn out for everybody's benefit. He is that kind of guy.
Sure.
But, that's only a little bit of money. And plus the police were there too. So he didn't have the time to spend there to like take it. And plus if he would have taken like more than what his due was, he might have gotten, they might have gone after him.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, because now you got a robbery instead of like.
Yeah.
Just
So now he's in
settling
a
up.
place where he can take as much as his power can grab.
He's got
And now he's ready to go down with back then $35,000. Jesus Christ,
Yeah, that's a lot of dough back
that
then.
is
This
a
is sad.
lot of dough back then.
All right. Let's see. Really quick, a shout out to the music department of this film, which is really weirdly credited. Murray Cutter is orchestral arrangements. Leo F. Forbstein is musical director.
Those
Jack
dirty
Dumont, an uncredited musician, I imagine probably the harmonica. And Max Steiner, conductor, uncredited. So the music was rad. But we're almost out of time here. But really quick, one thing I want to bring up because I love religion so much. Religious undertones being dealt with in this theme, in this film. Are there? Is anybody picture any? Like, does anybody see sort of?
It is kind of a
well, because
Cain and
I mean, the
Abel
karma kind of a thing in a way, or like sort of they tried to like steal from the earth and like the earth like took it back maybe. The way like the pursuit of wealth is empty and ultimately fruitless. Sort of you've got to or
The
things
giveth
like
and
where
taketh away.
you've got right well or like I don't know, some sort of like God allegory or something where you've got the guy in the white suit who through the benevolence of his benevolence is able to set Dobbs up to be able to pursue this fortune with this hard work, but then like Dobbs' avarice or lust or whatever one of the seven deadly sins he's violating, greed. All the ones he's violating come back to bite his ass in the end, kind of thing. Does anybody? Did anybody like what?
It seems like a stretch to me.
What is karma? Is karma Buddhist?
Karma is...
The idea of karma, is that Buddhist or is that Hindu? What the fuck?
Like,
what is it?
I
think it's Buddhist.
Hindu,
Is it?
Whatever
Or something.
called, yeah.
I mean, it seems like a stretch to me only because, like, yeah, you have the guy in the white suit giving the money and whatnot, but that doesn't really mean anything because to me, other than that handout or hand up, whatever you want to call it, he only earns, he doesn't even, he works his ass off for 10 months, as they say.
Yeah.
To get this money.
Yeah, it's not like they don't deserve the money because they're up there earning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, they're working hard for it. Just because nobody else is out there and done it yet doesn't mean that they're. I mean, their only really real crime is possibly an environmental one if you want to take that approach to it.
Well, they're basically poaching.
But then they also were keen because of Walter Houston to leave things as they found it minus the gold they took.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So-
I mean, it's probably already somebody's claim.
So I don't see personally see any like religious undertones there. These are guys that just fuck themselves over, not even so much themselves that they got obviously fucked over by Dobbs,
Right.
But they all they worked their ass off the entire time.
And then whether they lost it, so
Yeah.
are they like Job? Okay, well, then if nobody else saw any sort of religious subtext being dealt with, since that's our time to go. What did anybody take a message from this film? Did anybody feel that there was a sort of a message behind the story that in addition to being this engrossing sort of interpersonal drama, but because it's dealing so much with sort of the power of money, the power of gold over people and stuff like that, is there any message anybody took from this film?
Always kill people at the first sign of gold fever.
And
Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Kill them.
And this is a lady who's voting for Donald Trump every step of the way, people.
Mine's along her ways. Like, make sure if you're gonna shoot a motherfucker, make sure he's dead.
You better kill me.
Yeah, double tap that motherfucker.
Finish the task.
Yeah,
You know,
finish what you started, and also make sure you always check your gun for bullets.
Yeah, I guess that's a good.
Now that I think of it, it all seems like a Star Trek episode where like the old man is like Q or something, and he's just taking these.
He
two
pits
on a
like
wild ride.
Picard or Riker against like some alien being like in Darmok.
Or like against each other. you know, like,
Number one, I order you to take a number two.
Okay, well,
Who does number two
that's going to Captain's log. That's going to unless anybody's got anything else to add for the treasure of the Sierra Madre, that's going to wrap it up for this edition. We'll be back next week. We'll be doing next week. John will be back with us, and hopefully Chris won't be totally dead still. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe Jason Land. We'll see who's here, but we'll be doing a wrap up. We'll be doing a double podcast next week. We're doing a wrap up of You Blew It, Oscar, because we need some fucking answers about Shane. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, am I right? I think
answers.
I think we're owed.
Oh.
I think we're owed. And I'm dying to get everybody's
Best and worst.
best and worst, and have some chat about that. So that'll happen next week, as well as another who knows who the fuck picks what the fuck edition of our mystery free for all lottery.
That should be the theme, the official
So,
theme name.
so make sure to tune in for that. So once again, outroductions clockwise. I'm Ed.
I'm Zeb.
I'm Kenzie.
I'm Chris, and shouldn't we do this counterclockwise?
I know.
Why?
Because it's never mind.
I'm Kenzie.
I'm
Ed.
Spartacus.
And we'll be back with another edition of Las Películas Sábados Gigantes at the Cinemarijuana Theatre next week. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.